The Manuel Theatre has cancelled the show which references Daphne Caruana Galizia after public backlash. Parents plaster unmasked kids posters outside schools as well as Chris Fearne's office, and Joseph Muscat highlights 3 negatives from the latest election. All this and more on Lovin Daily. Good evening, Malta and Gozo. Johnathan, Cilia here, joined by Tim Diacono. I hope you had a great Freedom Day yesterday and you've got some plans for this weekend. We've got some great stories to discuss today, as well as some details on Lovin Malta's incredible epic foodie giveaway at the end of today's show. But before that, Tim is here with details on today's top story.
Yeah, the top story, if you've been following the news, concerns the cancellation of Cilia, a play that was the brainchild of Mario Filippazza Pardi, about a family matriarch, but the main controversy around was that one of the characters was a very negative interpretation of assassinated journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia. And basically, to sum it up, this character ends up dying and being sent to somewhere worse than hell, and the final words are words that Daphne Caruana Galizia herself had used shortly after Domintov had died. Not very pleasant words, and also her infamous last words, "The situation is desperate." The play was met with quite a lot of backlash from many people within the autistic community, questioning how it was approved in the first place, calling it incredibly distasteful. Also the fact that the Manuel Theatre is literally state-owned, so this is something that the state is endorsing. Some people did, point on the side of freedom of expression, the fact that everyone's free to say what they want, but then the counter is that you're free to criticize it and and the motivations behind it. Like my point over here is that it was quite cheap, I feel, to base a play on the assassination of a journalist rather than the powers that be, right? I mean, it's easy, to criticize someone who was blown up 5 years ago, rather than criticizing people who are actually in power. You're not being really clever or brave, I feel. That's my opinion about it all. However, the cancellation of it, is a bit concerning, because it's especially how the Manuel Theatre described it, that we're literally responding to public outcry and responding to the sentiments. So you can't really have a theatre just deciding which shows are shown and which ones are cancelled because there's an outcry on Facebook. That's absolutely not on.
I think there's a lot of developments in this story. So one thing that, kind of stands out to me is that journalist Manuel Daily actually, he took umbrage with this play, and he actually leaked the script of the play, something that I think Azzo Pardi will now be suing him over. So it actually might end up in court over this. I mean, look, there's lots of things to kind of discuss here. What's clear is that partisanship kind of has to make its way into all forms and walks of Maltese life, even the art scene. It's no secret that Mario Party has a strong allegiance with the Labour Party, and I'm sure, kind of his approach to Daphne Caruana Galizia's memory will be, influenced by kind of his background and his circle of friends and family. I'm not surprised that the theatre community took umbrage at this as well, though I do wonder kind of Manuel Theatre itself. Do they not vet scripts? Do they not have a team checking scripts before? I mean, they would have saved everyone a lot of hassle if they just hadn't accepted script in the beginning, as opposed to accepting it, say you're going to do it, have a whole poster, have actors and actresses who learn the script, just to cancel it after some public statuses on Facebook. Let us know in the comments below whether you think this play should go on or be cancelled. Moving on to another group of, quite angry people, parents have appeared outside schools as well as the office of Health Minister Chris Fearne to beg, plead, demand that their children are unmasked as COVID-19 mitigation measures continue. So there were 4 schools that found these posters. Their posters basically showing a mask on a face, calling and saying "Unmask the kids." They appeared outside the Hundat Middle School, Asha Primary School, St. Teresa Colleges of Imrihil, and Baltan Lia and Eklin, as well as Chris Fern's Zaytun office. One mother actually spoke to Lovin Malta, explaining why they, showed up with these posters outside these schools and office, saying, quote, "We are fed up. The law seems to apply to kids only." There are kind of plans underway to remove COVID-19 mitigation measures in schools after the Easter holidays, though, we've seen over the last few years, COVID kind of can throw a spanner in the works, as it were, and things are very much touch and go. But it does seem that these measures will be removed imminently. However, yes, I can just imagine the parents' frustrations. Children are still among the most masked up people in Malta. I mean, I think when it comes to the airport and schools, these are some of the most strictly controlled areas. I mean, we've seen videos of events, we've seen the political rallies during the election season. Clearly, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander.
No, absolutely. The plan is for the masking rules at schools to be removed after the Easter holidays, but some people are rightfully questioning why wait a few weeks and not to remove it now. Like, will the situation be different then than now? What's the science behind it? Especially when you see these rallies of people just hugging each other, no masks on. I mean, it kind of stings, right? If you're a parent sometimes. Again, the point isn't telling people not that you can't wear a mask, even that you shouldn't. It's the obligatory nature of it. The fact that if you don't, you're breaking the law. This is the point that people are questioning.
If you're interested, sorry to interrupt, but if you're interested in hearing the kids themselves speak about this, Unmask, the kids actually posted a video where they spoke to school children, and it was quite shocking. Some kids spoke about accidentally taking their mask off to speak to their friend during break, only to get shouted at from the teacher. So, if you are interested in this, check out the kids themselves speaking about it.
Yeah, and obviously that's a very good point, John. I mean, these are the formative years, and memories like this that can really impact you will stay with you for the rest of your life. So it's no joke. It's not something to say, we'll just wait a few more weeks. It's been 2 years. What's the big deal? I don't think so. I think it's quite crucial, and it's quite a shame that it's been ignored for so long and is one of the last restrictions to be removed. Moving on, former Prime Minister Joseph Muscat has given his first post-election interview where he analysed the results of the election in briefly. And he highlighted the interview was with Wilinski magazine, and he highlighted 3 negatives, in his opinion, from the results. Firstly, the relatively low turnout, 85.5%, which is low by Maltese standards. The small number of women MPs elected, so only 4, actually down from the last time round. And his argument is that this proves the need for the gender quota mechanism. So we're actually going backwards, we elected 7 women last time, now we elected only 4. We really need this gender quota mechanism to jumpstart the system and make sure there are women in parliament. And finally, the weakness of the opposition, which is, again, something that must probably really sting for the opposition, to hear your political rival being so condescending and saying, you're so weak. But his argument is that an opposition is crucial for the country and for political debate, which is true. And the fact that Joseph Muscat is also recognizing it publicly, again, it's like the writing is on the wall. My point is, just want to focus a bit on the gender quotas, because it's going to be applied for the first time ever next week, once all the casual elections are complete. And 12 women are going to be elected to Parliament, 6 from Labour, 6 from PN. I'm very sceptical of it, for the reasons everyone is. The fact that it's quite anti-democratic, I feel, for women who didn't get as many votes as others to make their way into Parliament ahead of men who did better than them just because of their gender. However, it is also a fact that 4 women in Parliament is way too low, and the net result, I feel, is probably going to be good, because especially when you're seeing the number of women candidates who are set to get elected from both sides, I must say, is, from what I know of them, it could be a net positive for the Maltese Parliament.
No, it's genuinely shocking that there were a lot of female candidates, a lot of very good, viable female candidates this election, and the Maltese electorate still only voted in 4. Now, whether that means that we have weak female candidates or the Maltese electorate still hasn't been convinced to support Maltese politicians, which I'm not really sure about, has to be proven. The gender quotas, we're going to have a very bloated parliament, this administration. It's going to be the biggest parliament in Malta's history. However, I think, you do kind of need more women at the table, having a seat at the table, literally at the legislative table, making decisions on Malta's laws and rules. So time will tell to see if Joseph Muscat is correct on this, if everyone that supported the gender quotas is correct. It's literally imminent. We're going to see it very, very soon. So, this time next year, we'll already have a whole, 10, 11, 12 months of experience to talk about it. Moving on to the next story, a bit of a positive story. A global drug policy expert has praised Malta's pioneering vision as far as regulating the cannabis industry. So, Malta's authority regulating cannabis use in Malta held its first forum today at the Hilton Hotel in St. Julian's, and one of the speakers there was Steve Rolls, who's the author of Transform's 2009 book After the War on Drugs: Blueprint for Regulation, as well as a Guardian contributor, as well as a consultant to the governments of Jamaica, Uruguay, and others on cannabis policy. He was very, very hopeful, very excited actually for Malta's regulatory framework, which is a pioneering framework, the first in the world to kind of legalize it in a non-profit way, with harm reduction very much at the forefront. He said, quote, "We don't get much news about Malta in the UK, but this made the news," referring to the late 2021 cannabis reform. "The world," quote, "is watching Malta now. You are rejecting the failed and harmful approach from the past, and this is brilliant. This is a fundamentally positive move." He noted that other countries all across Europe, Denmark, Italy, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland, were all discussing a new approach to cannabis, yet none of them had actually taken the step, whereas Malta had taken the step and is already moving ahead with it. Today as well, around 100 different groups of people, organizations, and individuals showed up to learn how they can apply to set up a non-profit cannabis social association in Malta. In fact, tomorrow at 9 a.m., Lovin Malta will be publishing all the criteria and a kind of how-to guide for anyone that wants to open up a club in Malta. But clearly, experts coming from abroad, seeing what we're doing, seeing what Malta's doing, and being very excited by it. And this is someone who for the last 10 years has been dealing with cannabis policy around the world. He spoke about kind of Uruguay being a bit too strict, whereas Canada might have been a bit too lax, Colorado might have been a bit too lax. And seeing Malta's approach where it's quite strict, but lax where it needs to be, it bodes very well for Steve Rolls right here.
I mean, what also impressed me was that it's already attracting quite a lot of interest locally. A lot of people are declaring their interest to set up cannabis associations. I remember a few months ago there were some concerns that all the rules around it, will just lead to so much bureaucracy that no one will be interested in setting up an association in the first place. But thankfully, this seems to not be the case.
The authority said, quote, "We have 2 priorities, supporting associations as well as the community. So make of that what you will."
And finally, Lovin Malta has announced what is clearly the biggest foodie giveaway in Maltese history, where a winner and their partner will get to win a year's worth of free meals from 100 restaurants, all of which are restaurants which feature on the Lovin Recommends 2022 list of our readers' favourite restaurants in the country. More details are going to be announced in the coming weeks, but this is a really big giveaway, particularly for foodie lovers. We're literally talking 100 restaurants, 100 free meals in a year. Great stuff. and more details will be announced in the coming weeks, so stay tuned.
It's insane. Over 5,000 euros worth of meals for two. That's you and one very lucky friend or partner. Obviously, this is April Fool's today, so a lot of people might be thinking in traditional Lovin Malta fashion that this is an April Fool's. It is actually not. If you are aware of the brand, we usually announce that it's an April Fool's by noon. It's about 6 p.m. and we haven't announced yet, so this is very much real, very much insane. I don't know what we were thinking, giving away over 5,000 euros worth of meals, over 100 meals for two. So definitely stay tuned for more details on this. I do suggest that if you like eating out, especially with COVID kind of touch wood coming to an end, you know, and more restaurants really happy and desperate to get diners back in, that you'd be signing up for this. We're actually going to cut to a video with a bit more details on this. Stay tuned on lovinmalta.com for more on that. We're going to cut now to a video, and as always from myself and Tim, have an evening full of lovin'. What's up, Lovin Malta fam? It is midday, and in true annual April Fool's style, this is not a drill. Turn it up. The Lovin Malta Epic Foodie Giveaway, brought to you by Lovin Recommends 2022, is 100% real and set to launch. We will be revealing more details on how you can participate in the coming days, with over 100 restaurants and eateries already geared to tickle your taste buds. That's more than 100 meals worth over 5,000 euros of dinners for two. Stay tuned for instructions on how you and one friend could walk away with 1 year of eating out at every restaurant that's worth its weight in salt across the island. Keep your eyes peeled, your friends close, and be sure to work up a good appetite. The Epic Foodie Giveaway has just landed. Coming soon. Lovin Recommends.